funny to put a load of talentless people into the house and to watch them believe that they have talent.
It was a little bit of a curse for me, but I really don't regret any of it.
It is great. It's car crash telly. There's nothing better than seeing people make an absolute fool of themselves.
Over the years, we've all been entertained by at least some of the antics of fame-hungry souls who volunteer to shut themselves away in the Big Brother house, hoping to find fame, fortune, and a place in the nation's heart, and win a load of cash. But do they ever really know what they're getting themselves into? Every year, things seem to get more extreme, and by Big Brother 6, things got really nasty.
Don't take the mic, yeah?
What's your problem?
I got a problem with this. I'm telling you, don't take the mic.
Well, what have I done that's wrong then?
I don't like people. I'm Craig.
Just saying it.
Well,
For God's sake, if that upsets you, what upsets you?
Now, Big Brother's becoming nastier, and the sort of people that they're actually bringing onto Big Brother is, I mean, it's just a modern-day equivalent of a circus freak show.
You know, the producer said to me, this is the most paranoid year we've had. And it's been funny this year, probably because of the paranoia.
I spent 27 hours in a cardboard box.
Big Brother knows exactly what buttons to press to encourage sexy, funny, and often quite humiliating vote-catching behaviour.
If you turn the ball around on its side so you can get on the... 1, 2, 3, 3!
It is getting more extreme, but it's down to Big Brother, and I think it's also down to the contestants. They know that to make a mark and to stay in for the duration of the show, they have to do something fairly shocking.
As a viewer, I must admit, I scream at the telly, saying, give them more alcohol, because that's when you have some of the most memorable moments.
I want a full glass, Eugene. You're not going until you give me a full glass. Is that my breast?
Very good. There we are.
Now it's about how much publicity can someone get, what publicity stunts can anybody pull, what game tactics, what game plans do people have. It's got very competitive, very bitchy.
He is just too much for me as well, you know. I can't take this business of big grins in my face and then behind my back he's trying to sabotage. Yeah. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
I don't see why even. He should just relax and be himself. Why does he feel the need to call people actors and actresses? He's an actor and actress.
And this year, it's not just the contestants' behaviour that's been criticised.
Even Davina has suddenly got this edge to her, and I think that people really saw that and actually felt sympathy for Makosi when she came out and she was getting all this abuse, and Davina just sat back and didn't seem to do anything about it, and I think a lot of people were shocked by that.
How will this year's crop cope in the outside world? Are they cursed to roam the earth, forever branded as Big Brother housemates? Tonight we journey through a 6-year cultural phenomenon to see what lessons can be learned from the past. A past filled with curse.
I actually did think when I was actually in the house that I was going to have a nervous breakdown.
People say to me on the street all the time, you know, was it a good experience? Was it funny? No, it was the cruelest experience of my lifetime.
My initial reaction to Big Brother was a bit like, you know, it's getting back to the Roman times, you know, the lions and the Christians, you know, thumbs up and thumbs down, and it's almost as cruel, not quite as deadly, but I suppose deadly in different ways.
I think it could be a curse that could live with you for a long time unless you make a fairly radical decision to maybe move abroad or grow a beard.
They go in as innocent TV wannabes, but all too often the only TV they're going to get is pet rescue.
From the moment they go in there, they have a curse, and they don't understand what it is, and that is they want to be famous, and they won't be.
To go in there and try and achieve, you know, fame, what fame actually does to you is turn you into something that doesn't really exist, a fictional character that you have no control over. I think the Big Brother contestants get a little hint of that, and it's terrifying.
The ironic thing is you spend 9 weeks you're thinking, I can't wait to get my life back. And little do you know, your life is not there anymore. That life is gone and there's a completely different one waiting for you.
Just be careful when you get out. Be wary, don't trust nobody.
Good advice, because the curse has a terrible ally. The tabloid press.
You know, they've taken pictures of me, airbrushed the girls' clothes out and put huge censored stickers on the front and said that I'd been a porno star. You see the original pictures, it was for like German FHM, and you don't do things like that.
They're an absolute bunch of muppets as far as I'm concerned. Anybody who puts themselves forward for that has to have something wrong with them, because you're just opening yourself up to so much criticism. It's what we do for a living, and we certainly don't miss and hit the wall when it comes to picking these people off.
Me, Josh and Suzanne, we raised about 20 grand from Macmillan, right, by running the marathon. That would make your newspaper. But if I went out tonight, some geezer whacked me in a nightclub and I whacked him back, that would. Good news don't sell papers. Bad news does. Gossip sells papers.
Yes, Big Brother's cursed brand of fame comes at a price.
These reality shows come along and they say, hey, we can turn you from Mr. Normal into Mr. Famous and everything will be all right from now on. And of course the reality isn't like that.
Back in the real world of daytime telly and supermarket openings, few housemates have maintained their brief flirtation with fame. Some even moved abroad. Others just moved broadly. But for Jade, Big Brother has been a goodie thing. She's still famous and has even made $1 million. But for every Jade, there are plenty of Craigs and a whole heap of Alisons.
That's another thing with Big Brother, which really makes me angry. Everyone goes, I bet you're loaded now. You just think, what? I didn't win. I didn't get to make any money.
Big Brother started a TV revolution. Now more young people vote for contestants in reality shows than in general elections.
None of us, including the production company, realised what a huge impact, what a huge phenomenon this was going to be on British television.
And the phenomenon continues. Tens of thousands still flock to get on. Tonight we issue a health warning to them all. This show is cursed.
I always equate it to like putting your hand on the table and me saying I'm going to hit that with a hammer, and you thinking that's going to hurt, but you don't know how much it hurts till I actually hit you with the hammer, if you know what I mean.
Would I have done anything different? Well, I think so, probably to have said no to the invitation.
Coming up in part 2, we see how the pressures of Big Brother can corrupt and curse. Totally.
It was a game show.
Big Brother's Human Zoo format arrived in 2000 and changed TV forever. Inside, caged contestants with hidden cameras. Outside, a baying crowd and media frenzy. It was a cursed, purpose-built world encouraging shocking, vote-catching antics.
We want our clitorises pierced because we're all frustrated.
And near certain madness.
What you're talking about is televised incarceration. And, of course, the stir-crazy element of it is part of the firmament that's supposed to produce, you know, scintillating TV. I mean, what's going on here is that everything is worshipping at the altar of good TV.
When we started it in the UK, people thought it was terrible, that, you know, it was against all sorts of human rights to watch people 24 hours a day, and, God, there were cameras in the toilets, and would we be just endlessly watching people having a dump, and it was the end of civilization as we know it.
In fact, what they have done is successfully design an artificial, unnatural situation in which 12 hand-picked personalities are going to sleep together, eat together, they're going to spend all their time together, and the net result, of course, is going to be paranoia, which is going to produce conflict.
Initially, when I walked into the house, I think it was like sort of Feltham's Young Offenders Institute. All it was blue walls and a perimeter fence with great, you know, spotlights on it, almost like sort of Starling 17.
It wasn't a loving, nurturing, interesting environment. It was stark, it was hostile, it was a very deprived atmosphere.
The unnatural environment of this blighted hellhole saw all social etiquette lost.
I was just having
If I was can-canning outside your room while Caroline was sleeping, didn't you say to me, Darren, she was up
sing a
yours
song
now?
at 1 o'clock in the afternoon, I shall sing a song.
See, you can't even admit it, Nikki.
It's my fault if I stay up till 7 in the morning.
The whole radical break, in a way, was in the olden days on our game show. The contestants really didn't interact with each other as such, even though they were kind of meant to. That was meant to be the thing, but it was, you know, it was television, so it was polite. Whereas suddenly it became that they were genuinely competing in a much rawer, natural and, you know, sometimes more terrifying way. You know, the contestants were really, you know, at each other's throats.
But now came the ultimate horror. In a world before Makosi, where blatant lies were not yet part of the format, this man's treachery saw the curse take human form.
Nick, I would say, messed up. No, I'm not going to say that. That's horrible. Well, unstable, and maybe a devious streak. You know,
As a horrified nation looked on, Nick pretended to be everyone's friend, even those he nominated for eviction.
You have got a wonderful life ahead of you.
I have got a wonderful life, you're right, and you've got a wonderful life, and you're a very sensitive and supportive man, and I appreciate your care and humility.
It's a game show. You don't have to like these people. You weren't forced to sign a contract to say these buddies will be your best friends. You know, it was a game show with prize money.
Yes, I think what he did was he allied himself with people and he got them talking about themselves on their own, which is quite a clever technique. It's easier to be rumbled in a big group, far less easy when you're just one-to-one and you're taking care of somebody. And that can make a person incredibly attractive because they care about you.
If I didn't care, I wouldn't be in here.
Yeah.
And if I wanted you out, I would not be in here either. So, you know, we're here to support you.
I think the things that made Nick infamous were his little betrayals, 1,000 little betrayals throughout the course of his time in the house, confiding in some people, being their big support, being their friend, and immediately turning behind their back and saying to someone else that he couldn't stand them.
You definitely will be fine.
I hope so, Nick. But you don't know, do you?
No, you will.
So when he said of Nicola and Caroline were both hugely fond of Nick, really supported him, wouldn't have dreamt of nominating him. Yet he called them a pair of old crows to Craig when he was in the garden. It's those moments that make people think, oh, what kind of game are you playing? This is about trust and betrayal of trust. And it drew people in. It was quite compelling to watch because you always wondered why he was doing it and what his ultimate end game was.
I think he's a treacherous one, Craig, as well.
What?
He's a treacherous one. Anyway, that's your battery change done.
Nick's damnable behaviour knew no bounds as he invented a roadkill bride.
She met me back out in Australia, and unfortunately we had a terrible car accident in the Northern Territories, which killed her.
Oh, my God. He sat there blatantly lying about, trying to get sympathy off people, lying about the death of his wife, and I just thought that was just twisted. There's something wrong with that guy's brain.
Yes, he was cursed. The press and all Britain was baying for Nick's scalp.
You know, I wrote the notes down so people could know who I think they should vote for because you couldn't discuss nominations. So by writing them down, you know, I was beating the system. And they hated that.
The curse had used Bateman as its surrogate in the House, but now it exposed his soft, southern underbelly.
I think the moment when Nick was found out and when you know, his housemates found these little pieces of paper that had been scrawling names on, then they, of course, they sat around on the kind of people's court in the House, led by Craig. It's a legendary TV moment now, you know, and it was the moment I think that really that was the moment that raised Big Brother from, I think, that's probably even a slightly cultish programme essentially, but then that became a phenomenon. Everyone heard of it suddenly.
There's a number of people sitting around this table, right, who have come to me over the weekend and basically said that you have showed them a piece of paper with various names on it, i.e. my name on a number of occasions. I have witnessed you giving me a piece of paper with various people's names on, and so have other people around this table, which I don't want to mention their names.
It was strange, and it kind of crossed your mind that my God, this is really real. And this could turn out to be an utter catastrophe.
Suddenly he became, you know, the ultimate villain.
And now if that happened, I doubt anyone would be actually that surprised. But it was this huge outrage because we could all see that this guy was manipulating the situation. All the viewers could see that this was happening.
And what's interesting about that is because he became the ultimate villain in that circumstance, in that context of the television show, he became so in the outside world. But of course he doesn't know that.
He will forever be remembered, you know, when he's pushing, you know, rolling around in his wheelchair, picking up his pension, he's going to be remembered as Nasty Nick.
This is the man who emerged from a TV game show to find himself dubbed the most hated person in the country. Nick Bateman, the Big Brother contestant who cheated. Last night he got his comeuppance when others in the house discovered how he plotted against them and he was thrown out.
And then there's absolute outcry from the public. He's made a public hate figure, same sort of level as Saddam Hussein at the time.
What did the guy do? He wrote some names on a piece of paper and suddenly he's like, you know, public enemy #1.
Whereas today, Big Brother, nastiness is fated. Big Brother wants to divide and rule. This is a real, like, harking back to the gladiatorial conquests of throwing the Christians to the lions.
And lo, the very first housemates went off to try to pick up the threads of their sad, cursed lives, or even seek 15 minutes of celebrity fabulousness.
I imagine the advice they got wasn't as sophisticated as they get now. I mean, now I know for a fact that when they come out of the house, they get teams of publicists, you know, sophisticated, experienced publicists, PR people and advisors saying to them, look, don't do this, do that. If you do this, this will happen to you. If you release a terrible single, you'll become a laughingstock, you know. And I think, you know, it's up to them whether they take that advice or not.
Obviously, Nicola didn't. Even balmy crucifixion-style choreography couldn't make this a hit.
That was one of the good things about doing Big Brother, really, just doing that, because I'll have that in my mind forever. Even though it was a crap song, I looked crap, I looked dreadful, just everything about it was just tacky shit. But as well, it was bloody funny. It was a good laugh.
Another perk was free booze. Lots of it. And it still is. But the perk can become a curse. The trend for misdemeanours on the post-Big Brother party circuit began when Nicola and Caroline got mullered and fell on Vanessa Feltz.
Their behaviour was appalling and really embarrassing and, you know, not commensurate with being at that kind of event or any kind of public event. I mean, they ought to have been in a playpen at home, I thought.
But back inside, Big Brother is a kind of playpen, and it is a public event. Series by series, the curse of booze-fueled bad behaviour would come to wreak ever greater havoc. Summer 2001, and yet more sorry souls crossed over to the dark side. The unnatural atmosphere produced yet more conflict.
I didn't like the house, though. The vibe initially in the house as a space, I didn't really feel that comfortable in there.
You expect it to be perfect. You go into this perfect little world where you all live together and get on, but it's not. You know, doors do something. Like the front door goes, everyone's like that. You know, is it part of the game? Is it part of the test? And then you see a human body run past trying to shut the door, and you're like, you know, it's bizarre. It's more bizarre because you're shut off from the public. You're shut off from everybody.
Then add to that the unholy alliance of a lap dancer and a sales executive.
I'm here! What is it you have to say? Dude, I won't be to it getting fired up.
It's bizarre because the Emma Stewart thing, it seemed to come out of the blue. It was just like, you know, someone had just lit a firework.
It makes good TV, let's be honest. That's what it does. It makes good TV.
It certainly did. The nation was transfixed by yet more extreme behaviour.
He's a smug and leave this house because I think you're smug, and I hate you!
But of all the Big Brother 2 housemates, schoolteacher Penny was most cursed. And most eccentric.
Out the kitchen. In the kitchen. In. in. Get that chicken out, wash it, scrub it, rub its insides out, black pepper it, get a garlic under its skin, put a bit of oil on it, whack it in the oven, out the kitchen.
How long for?
5 seconds.
Her behaviour got more and more off the wall. A quick flash caused moral panic.
Anything that happens to Big Brother is fair game, you know, and so when Penny is a teacher and she flashes her boobs, that's like immediately going to excite, you know, certain sections of the tabloids and for them to take kind of moral view on it. It
was too much. Penny's headmistress was outraged.
If she continues to be involved in what one would say were activities that were not being, could not be represented as a positive role model for the students at the school, that this would result in action being taken that would mean that she would not be able to return.
When it got pubically extreme, Penny's front bottom became a national obsession, as censored here, and amid speculation she'd be sacked, Penny resigned. Her ensuing career in glamour modelling was mercifully brief.
If you're a primary school teacher, you really can't go onto a programme like that and then expect to walk back into the classroom and have the pupils respect you, or have your parents turn up at parents' evening and see you sitting at the other side of the desk when you've been lying around flashing your undercrackers and getting your bra off in the back garden.
When you look back, that was just small fry to what we're seeing now. I think it took 15 minutes before someone got naked on Big Brother 6.
Ah, a more innocent time. 2001 also saw us transfixed by Big Brother's first love story. And Helen and Paul were a world away from Max and Saskia.
All the good things that have come out of Big Brother. Remember when Paul Clark, of course, because he's so lovely and nice and gorgeous. And number 2, living with Paul Clark's nice as well. Number 3 is nice to see Paul Clark every day as well.
Ha-ha, fools. The curse had already had its fun, and so had we, because Helen and Paul hadn't.
You just can't.
I know.
You know what I'm saying?
It was very much like an office romance where two people are kind of, you know, taking each other's stapler and nudging each other by the coffee machine, and you kind of think, for God's sake, just sort it out, have sex and let it be over with, sort of thing.
It was so tedious. It was like a school, it wasn't even an office, it was school kids giggling and and I don't want to do it on TV and oh.
Their enforced celibacy was soon frustrating the rest of the house as well.
Oh, they just please.
And get it over with.
Get it out of their system.
Beautifully, Paul and Helen are still together. And there could be more to come.
The thing that freaked me out the most is in this one paper they put a picture together of if we had a baby, what it would look like. And I was thinking, what has happened to the world? What is going on?
After the break, the curse gets badder and boozier. A Bermondsey girl redefines the concept of kebab. And Sandy, the man who beat Orla to it and climbed his way out of the house, tells all.
Well, I think you just got to look at your route, make sure you've got a route out, check your equipment, especially your trousers, make sure they're not too tight, and probably a distraction works quite well.
It was 2002. Big Brother's legacy was already clear. Some had escaped the curse with 70 grand and a job on Saturday mornings.
I just really like pigs.
But many more were demonised. All the more surprising that on arrival, the Big Brother 3 recruits seemed a normal, well-balanced bunch, in stark contrast to their later antics.
It is zoo television in that sense. We are talking about caged animals in the case of contestants in Big Brother House. But it's more like the caged animals that we become when we all have to go and stay with our family over Christmas.
Sure enough, when producers upped the ante with radically improved booze rations, things fast descended into a whirlpool of drunken chaos.
The more alcohol I drank, it was easier for me to tolerate some of the other people there, and I did get on better with them. And sometimes I told them what I thought as well.
Sometimes more graphically than strictly necessary.
Jade, come and give my arse a good last licking. Come on, Jade, give my arse a good last licking.
If you turn up to pubs or clubs and you've had too much alcohol, they won't let you in. Well, my God, I mean, if half the people in the house had left the house and gone to a club that night, they wouldn't have got in anywhere.
You want to mess with me? You want to mess with me?
I've never drunk so much. In fact, I've actually started drinking since then. I really enjoy my drink now.
The cursed boozing came to a head as trainee solicitor PJ made his move on the young innocent.
I mean, if she wasn't that drunk, I don't think the bed situation would have happened, really. But PJ went in to get what he could, any case of any girl, and it was Jade. It happened, and I don't know exactly, because I still asked Jade, what happened under the blankets? No, Mum, it was just a hand. That's all I get, it's just a hand. And I have to believe that.
Never mind what you can see the blanket. Well, if you turn it right up, let's put it, you can hear the noises, and either she had a bad cold or something was going on down there.
It was fantastic to see this drama, and it was sleazy drama, and it was horrible drama, but it was still drama, and it was great drama. And then having to see the fallout and the consequences, and you knew that would come, and the next day when PJ wouldn't even look her in the eye.
I think the fire's too hot to be put out.
Don't bother.
You know, you're getting, for better or worse, you know, a brilliant dramatic representation of the one-night stand in a way that's never been done in theatre or film. You know, so brilliantly done what it's like to have to go through that.
I think she went to see the psychotherapist halfway through, and he told her to stop drinking. Because I know when as soon as that came out, she didn't touch anything for a while, which was bad for us, because it meant there was more for us and more chance of us doing something stupid.
Everybody is expressing what happened to them in their early childhood. Now, in Jade's case, we know she had a pretty tricky early childhood, and the way she obviously dealt with it was by being quite flirtatious, and, you know, she has her way of dealing with men. And if you then chuck her into this situation, ply her with alcohol, she'll take that a lot further than she normally would.
Before Jade, a kebab was just crusty old meat in a pitta that you ate after the pub. Not anymore. She became cursed to eternal tabloid infamy as stunned housemates and viewers watched the bottom quite literally drop out of kebabs.
Goody, sorry, but he said
That's
about
3
2 seconds
times,
ago.
Jade. 3 times Kevin Costner. Let you off this one. Oh, no.
They're all sort of sitting around on those sofas. Every single one of them looks like me, you know, they haven't even lost their tie kind of thing. And except for Jade, who's got not a stitch on. Oh, my God.
They've gone and taken all my clothes again!
Jade's exploits became a media sensation, but we also witnessed a new and vicious brand of fame. She was pilloried in the tabloids and on national TV.
Can you see my kebab?
The thing that comes out of all of the series is like language and words and catchphrases. They always stick after series. You know, everyone's talking about end of and, you know, all this sort of stuff after this series. And, you know, maybe about 1% of the population and maybe referred to their bits and pieces as a kebab. But, you know, it's never been in sort of like common parlance.
I was really shocked at the time of the Jade Goody, is this the most hated woman in Britain, that period. Because personally, I just thought, when she comes out, if this is the way that the press maintains their view of her, how gutting to have had those front pages. But then it just spun again in her favour.
And for now, at least, Jade seems to have beaten the Big Brother curse. She's a millionaire and a media favourite. Meanwhile, back in the house, it was getting more like Costa del Curse for former Colour Sergeant Major Sandy Cummings.
I felt that I was on a really bad holiday.
This year, Orla might have walked instead of being voted out, but nothing matched the drama of this first Big Brother desertion.
He better not escape now.
But that time to escape, you're right yourself, you chips.
Sandy, no. Sandy!
The biggest mistake I made was I had this pair of jeans that were slightly too tight. Every time I tried to throw my leg up on the roof, the jeans threw me back down again, so it was really quite embarrassing. And actually, I was still slightly inebriated from the night before, so I suppose it was a little bit of risk jumping up there.
Strutting in to replace Sandy, a man whose swagger said he was as cool as he looked.
You just see him instantly walk in thinking he can take it on, he can have sex, he can be friends with all the guys, he can make lasting friendships, he can make a load of money, come out and be a celebrity. He still thinks it's on the cards. You can see it with the strut, with the whole way he acts. He's in control.
Absolute This is the 21st century, not 16th. Comprende?
I don't know, I mean, everyone who gets picked for it must, you know, everyone else must think, oh, they're so blessed to be able to pick for Big Brother, but I think it might be in disguise, actually a curse in disguise of a blessing.
But Posh Tim had not so dark secrets, and before long his roots were being questioned.
doesn't really bother me, it's fairly harmless, but for my ginger hair, when it's just not a ginger root on me, you know, which is bizarre that the press can sort of, you know, develop something that successfully.
So you're categorically not ginger?
Yeah, absolutely not.
But it was this caught-on-camera act of sheer vanity, probably more than any other, which cursed Tim.
I'm quite open that I spend 20 minutes on my hair every morning, so therefore in there, I spent 20 minutes, I don't care, you know. And I was quite open about saying, as to why I tried to hide it, I don't know. And if I do it again, it's the only thing I change. But no, it's nothing to do with the ginger hair. I mean, since then, I've dropped my trousers a few times to prove it. You know, if anyone asked politely, I'm sure I'd do it again.
It's OK, Tim, we've forgotten all about it. Meanwhile, Adele was showing us just what a cunning game plan she had, revealing her thoughts on the others, but not to their faces. Cunning, but cursed.
Yeah, PJ. I'm a sly little but I've thought that for a long time. I was there as a contestant, as we all were, and this is, again, it's not reality TV, it's a game show. It's that we're there to win £70,000.
Bread's nice.
Her bitching went berserk, and the public cast its vote for justice.
The sixth person to be evicted from the Big Brother house is Adele.
She was the first evictee to be booed, and the true nature of the curse struck the housemates, well, except Jade, for the first time.
We'd heard the boos, and cause then it makes you wonder, well, Adele was a friend of mine in there, and then you said, why does everyone not like her?
It's only when Davina started coming up the stairs looking like she was running away from, like, a 20-foot dog that I was like, what's wrong? And Davina was like, looked like she was absolutely cacking herself, and she goes, don't worry about it, come on, and just kind of, like, dragged me, like, really quickly through the crowd.
It was just awful to watch. It's just so cringy, because I was taking myself back to the time when I came out, and if that had happened, she just handled it so well. I think I would have been, oh my God, oh, I'm hated. It would have been awful.
Paranoia was starting to set in big time. The housemates were visibly worried.
I think I read bits in papers that I was one of the 10 most hated men in England, and it turned all around for me the longer I stayed in. And I know other people that, I'm sure there's other people that are in there, not mentioning names, that go around and get a lot of booing and probably don't like the idea of walking in the street.
The curse had manifested itself in many ways. Chest shaving, drunken hand skiffle beneath the sheets, and eviction hell. Life could never be the same again.
Whenever I go out, I usually wear hats and stuff like that. Just don't give people too much eye contact. Choose my places where I go carefully, and don't make a big thing of the fact that I was on Big Brother and I pretty much get left alone.
Funnily enough, the minute you step out that door, the whole world then becomes reality again, and you suddenly think, it's all right. But it's that walk up the steps, when you're cocooned in that place and the whole outside world is magnified into this terrorised thing, and you honestly have these visions of going out there and getting lynched or killed or something.
Not quite, but introducing the cheeky girls on a Friday night in Leeds comes close. After those shocking pictures were filmed, Tim Cully emigrated to South Africa. Then the curse abated. In 2003, Big Brother got quite nice, and a virgin one, and we were all a bit bored, and no one can remember much about it. Cue a cursed reinvention. Big Brother 5 announced it was evil, and lo, it was. A fake double eviction led to one of the most cursed moments in the show's history.
The famous first night when Marco came in, you know, sort of clapping his hands and making those odd squeal noises. Oh my God, oh my God. You know, I mean, you know, that sort of set the tone. By the time they were all collectively together, I looked at them and I thought, you know, they really are human and grotesque.
What a bunch. The most upfront, up for it, reality-savvy contestants yet. So you'd think they'd know what was in store. But no. Evil Big Brother was planning to mess with their minds. Emma and Michelle thought they'd been evicted, but they were taken to the now infamous bedsit.
Enjoy it. Go
on! The public don't like me. I'm going. Then this cameraman comes out and he's like, then we went into this little room and we thought,
Oh my God. Where are we?
Emma just couldn't believe it. She walked in there, she could hardly even read the note that Big Brother had left for her. She was sort of going through, what does that mean? What does that mean?
If you abide by the rules, you will re-enter the Big Brother house at Big Brother's discretion. What does that mean? It means that if we abide by the rules, we'll go in there at their discretion.
The bedsit allowed the two girls to spy on the others. But the cunning Big Brother trick went wrong when Emma heard Victor slagging her off.
There was 2 words that he used, him calling her a racist and Vic as well, and I thought that is the trigger because she was bullied at school because of a learning disability.
He was mad, she was mad, and when they were thrown back together, it resulted in the now notorious fight night.
You know, you've been dying for everyone to know exactly what other people are saying about them. And of course, you know, it was awful when they put them in the bedsit just to eavesdrop. But then when they were finally reintroduced by sort of bursting out of the cake, it was must-see TV. It was fantastic.
Insults were hurled, punches were thrown, and it all happened live on TV. Worried viewers called the police. It had all gone too far for one of the show's resident experts.
I was being phoned up constantly by journalists asking me to condemn the behaviour of England fans. But at the same time, here I was being involved in a programme in which largely young people were being manipulated to behave in hooligan behaviour in the name of entertainment.
Police are investigating a drunken brawl in the Big Brother house in the early hours of this morning.
Big Brother has come under such fire. More like Big Bother.
Have they gone too far in the search for ratings?
Frankly, some of the things that were being done in the name of entertainment on Big Brother, I would never have been able to do had I proposed those things in the name of academic research.
BB5, when they all got a bit drunk and they reintroduced Emma and Michelle, you know, that probably wasn't thought out very well, and I'm sure the producers would probably acknowledge that that wasn't a very clever use of alcohol because, you know, the situation really exploded.
That was the end for Emma. For her own safety, she was sent home, but she remains philosophical about it.
I'm not going to dwell over it.
Coming up, if the word fight summed up Big Brother 5, then the word bottle comes into play for 6.
I've got a sixth sense of humour when I've had a few.
One housemate shows how having an inflated opinion of yourself is now almost obligatory for joining the ranks of the cursed.
My personality is not golden, it's platinum. Actually calling myself platinum is underestimating myself because there's so much platinum around. I've not found what precious metal I can call myself. Maybe we just call me Makosi. But I think I'm very, 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 very unique.
Plus, can being the poshest housemate ever help escape the curse?
It pleased me that even with £50,000, Anthony couldn't buy my car on a second-hand basis.
And so we come to 2005, Big Brother 6, what next for this crop of sorry souls? An amoral world filled with super-savvy contestants, tactical manoeuvres and clear game plans. But one storyline was real, too real. The cameras caught every awful foot-fondling moment of Craig's terrible tale of unrequited love.
I think Craig's curse was definitely Anthony.
I think Anthony was pretty lonely by the end of it. He didn't have any of his friends. I'd imagine in his private life outside the house, he likes to kick around with his mates and get drunk.
Craig, are you gonna wash my shirts, Craig?
I think there was something quite sinister about the way when the night that Anthony got very, very drunk, that Craig took him to the diary room, stroking his thigh, then undressing him. And I think people thought, hang on a minute, this is not just playful flirting.
What are you gonna do for me supper, like?
In the meantime, the jury was still out over Saskia and cheeky chappy Maxwell's strategic coupling.
I think with Max and Saskia, they could have really been the Helen and Paul for this series. There was definitely chemistry there, definitely a spark, but instead of all the wooing that we saw with Helen and Paul, they just got straight down to it.
If you're having sex in the bed next to me when there's a million other places you can have it, and I'm not getting my sleep, and I'm annoyed by it, I'm going to say something.
Just sight of Maxwell looking like a pig sniffing around for truffles. Under the duvet was Saskia.
Makosi, of course, was playing a tactical game, but even she can't explain or remember why the pool turned to porridge on a hot summer's night.
The sex, or wasn't there sex, in the hot tub, I think that was something that people talked about, but I think all along Makosi knew that it would take something like that to make her a household name.
Well, I think I was asleep when all that was going on. There seemed to be a watershed hour in the Big Brother house, and when Grandpapa, which is what I was affectionately called by some of them, went to bed, that's when everybody sort of let their hair down.
I think I just had my mouth wide open and just thought, you know, oh my God, you know, it's kind of, you felt almost slightly pervy watching it all, but, you know, you couldn't avert your eyes.
Makosi purposefully made it look like they were having sex in that pool. I think purposefully made up she was pregnant. All this, you know, saying things like this is you're gonna be in the papers. Who has ever come into the Big Brother house and got pregnant?
Oh, Makosi definitely blew it with pregnancy. She definitely could have won. It was just one drama too far.
And then we have Kinga, the one person whose main tactic was to have none at all. Her most drunken shenanigan created the most cursed headlines of all. What did her mum think?
Venturing from just comedy nakedness into a sexual act with yourself or with somebody else, it's very blatant. It's quite shocking.
Darling Kinga, she does get carried away on 2 glasses of wine. I've told her that she really ought not to drink at all because she can't hold her drink. And I don't think that she would wish to be reminded of that incident.
I can't believe that that's what I'm known for, because I didn't do it. I really didn't do it, and I hand on heart swear on my career, swear that, you know, I'll go down in the dumps if I'm lying. I really, really didn't do it.
She apologised to every single housemate after that incident and said that she was hugely embarrassed, and so she jolly well ought to be.
Why are they making a big deal out of me? Maxwell and Saskia, I think, you know, did stuff in the house. The whole orgy in the pool, you know, girls snogging, everything kicking off. Why are they making a big deal out of me?
Kinga, yes, well, the bottle incident will forever stay in our memory.
I'm afraid it seems that Kinga is a classically cursed Big Brother contestant. But maybe she has lost her bottle association. She's got herself a record deal.
Yeah, but so does the Crazy Frog.
You know, everybody's actually talking about my music everywhere. What's this record like? I haven't even heard it myself.
What about Message in a Bottle?
She will only ever be remembered as Kinga the Minger with the bottle. I mean, if you're going to do that, I mean, dearie me, you've got to expect to be crucified by the press and the public.
As the years go on, if I do still get called Kinga the Minger or this wine bottle thing, you know, at least I'm still being recognised.
But what of the others? Can they escape the curse? What's next?
I'm going to pursue the interest of television work if it comes my way.
I think people honestly believe that once people see what they can do, that they are going to be a star.
I can sit here and tell you I am unique, I am different, and I have some talent.
And the best PR guy in Britain, I forgot his name, he said on television, Kinga can be a superstar, she's just got to get the right management.
Is this who you mean, Kinga?
I think they need counselling before they go into do reality TV, never mind about when they come out. And I think the counselling should say, basically, look, you do have a problem, accept it, go and get treatment, don't put yourself through this on television.
Kind words, Max. But Big Brother contestants have never really been that backwards in coming forwards.
They are quite shameless self-publicists. So when you know that they want attention for attention's sake, I think it can make some members of the public and journalists quite hostile to their efforts.
Organisers at this year's V Festival have banned all Big Brother 6 contestants, and I think that is how saturated the celebrity market has become.
I think they should automatically get an ASBO the minute they walk out the door.
History suggests they'll never escape the curse.
I'll always be, you know, that bloke off Big Brother, and people will still, you know, walk past me in the street and go, ooh, you know, like that.
If I walk down the street, the 2 words I always hear, you hear mumbling, you hear Alex and you hear Big Brother.
Like poor Alex, over half of all the contestants find that once out of the house, they are cursed and can never return to their previous lifestyles.
You cannot disassociate your name from that show, from Big Brother 6. It's going to take years. So why not let it naturally happen?
Instant fame is a horrible thing to deal with, especially when you know it's going to be gone again. And it's, you know, what do you do next? If they just had the next step of leading you back into, getting you back to normal, really, and out of the limelight and getting you back earning money, because that's what you have to do at the end of the day to live.
We can't go back to a normal job because people say you're joking, you know, why are you applying for this job? You know, you're on the television. And sometimes you can't get the job you want to in the media because you've got this curse of Big Brother.
I don't think I want to get away from the whole Big Brother thing. It's the best thing that's ever happened to me in my life.
But with at least 2 more series rumoured, like innocent lambs to the slaughter, thousands more will throw themselves at the mercy of Big Brother.
But next year's contestants, when they go in, they will know that they've got a lot to beat because Mikosi has set a standard with the pregnancy scare. Max and Saskia have had the under the covers romp.
I think Big Brother 6, I think the producers wanted extremity this year, and that's what they got. I think to top it next year, they're going to have to bring porn stars in, seriously.
They want people to push the boundaries more than they've been pushed so far, and I just think that, and they'll find the people to do it. That's the thing. They'll find the people out in the street there that need or want that exposure, and so they will basically do anything to get themselves noticed.
I think Big Brother fans want to see everything, and if they could, you know, they'd watch them on the toilet.
But it's very clear who the real winners are. It's the television company, it's the presenters who have built a brilliant name for themselves through the show, but it's not always the contestants.
After all this, if you're still daft enough to think of applying, pause for a moment and listen to this word of warning from a grizzled old veteran.
Think hard. Think hard. Think hard. And then say no.
It looks like some students have taken their protesting a bit too far next to night. In fact, looks like murder. CSI Miami.